finally here, MSI's highly classified loan compensation information. I'm joking, of course. MSI released partner announcement 11-009 last week regarding LO compensation, and since that time the Federal Reserve has even presented a webinar on the LO comp rule and how it relates to the Dodd-Frank bill. However, that doesn't mean that you've had the time or the chance to read the partner announcement or be a part of the Fed webinar. So in this episode of the Micro News, I'll be quickly reviewing the partner announcement, bringing out a few highlights of the Fed Reserve webinar, and in the middle, introducing you to our new partner for simplifying pricing and LO compensation, LoanSifter. Let's get started with a quick overview of partner announcement 11-009 regarding loan officer compensation. This is effective for loan applications on all products on or after April 1st, 2011. Compensation on each loan must come from only one source. The compensation type must be chosen for each loan at the time of the lock. So let's take a look at the two different scenarios. In the borrower paid compensation scenario, there's no compensation paid to the originator by the lender. The compensation is negotiated directly between the originator and the consumer on a transaction basis. The borrower must pay the originator in cash or by financing the amount into the loan principal. Borrower paid compensation is unrestricted as long as it is within applicable high costs and fair lending tolerances. The compensation can vary on each separate transaction. The originator can negotiate and make concessions to lower compensation or offer closing cost credits. And premium pricing may be used to cover third-party costs but may not be used to pay any portion of the loan originator's compensation. Now let's take a look at a lender-paid scenario. In this case, the compensation is paid only by MSI. The amount of the lender-paid compensation is selected by the business partner for the entire company through the use of MSI's LoanSifter technology, and this is with the exception of the initial compensation agreement attached to this announcement. The business partner will choose the compensation structure in LoanSifter. The compensation will be set on a per-partner arrangement. This means per company, not per individual. The compensation will be the same for each transaction, and it may not be changed until the next regularly scheduled adjustment period. So to reiterate, borrower compensation scenarios would be any scenario where the compensation is coming directly from the borrower's cash or from their finance loan proceeds or from the seller within the allowable seller contribution limits. Any other scenario would be considered a lender-paid scenario, and the two scenarios cannot mix. Now that you're armed with this information, here's what you need to do immediately. Whether you're delivering to MSI via the wholesale or correspondent channel, you want to complete your compliance attestation certification form and email it to Karen Hilton's attention at our corporate office by March 25. In addition, wholesale brokers need to complete and return the initial lender-paid compensation agreement by March 25th. Also email to Karen Hilton. Her address is khilton@msiloans.biz. Failure to meet this deadline may affect your ability to lock as of April 1st. Next on your homework list, make sure that you're using this safe harbor disclosure, which provides the 3 required options for every loan type that your borrower is interested in by April 1st. Even though per the Fed it's technically not required by the rule, this form does absolve you of any concern about non-compliance if it's done correctly. Note that while we've supplied a copy of this form for your use, it doesn't have to be our form as long as the one you use has materially the same information. Let's talk about your lender-paid compensation agreement for a moment. How do you decide which margin to select on the form? You may want to consider the following questions before making your selection. In the past 2 years, what has my operating margin needed to be on a per loan basis, generally speaking? Has the market changed for me so that my product mix and transaction type might affect what my new margin needs to be in order to remain profitable and remain competitive at the same time? Consider purchases versus refis and the viability of an ARM versus a fixed in your current market. MSI has teamed up with LoanSifter as our new pricing engine provider, which will allow you to choose a rate and see the corresponding loan officer compensation information based on your comp plan that you've selected. This LoanSifter engine will provide you with the opportunity to review your comp plans on a periodic basis and make changes that are compliant with the rule. The month of April might allow for some additional adjustments to the plan as we all get settled into this new era. And then going forward, while it hasn't been determined yet, the time frame for plan adjustments could be quarterly, for example. Finally, here are some things that were revealed in the Federal Reserve webinar last week that you may not have known already. First, on a loan transaction that utilizes the borrower paid compensation option, the originator company can't split commissions with the loan officer, as it would be a violation of the rule. The loan officer can only be paid by the borrower directly or by their employer and/or creditor directly. Second, originators cannot reduce fees or charges for a particular borrower, as that would be a violation of the rule. However, overages to SRP or yield spread that are above the chosen compensation margin with your lender can be put towards the legitimate third-party closing costs associated with the transaction. Third, originators cannot cover the cost of a lock extension. You'll remember that RESPA won't allow the charge to be passed on to the borrower without a valid change in circumstance, and these are few and far between. So, if it can't be passed on to the borrower because of RESPA and it can't be covered by the originator because of Reg Z, the only one left to cover this cost is the creditor. Because of this, originators want to pay very close attention to their pipeline management. Creditors or lenders that are consistently picking up the tab for extension costs for a particular originator will not want to maintain that relationship with the originator without first considering their good standing, their rates, and their delivery costs and adjusting them accordingly. Well, that's LO compensation in a nutshell. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sending your loans to MSI. Don't forget to do your homework and get it sent to Karen Hilton by March 25th. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.